Well, good morning on YouTube land. Hope the day finds you well. A little fun today. Playtime is always good. Oh, that didn't come out well. Better edit that out. We got where you can see everything. This is a brand new, unmolested Ohlsson Rice engine. Let's see if we can see it here a little bit. It's a brand new unmolested baggage room. And I'm going to show you how to take this baby apart. This has got the little decal, or the little paper rings that came from the factory. Let's see, never put a steel rod or screwdriver through the exhaust port. Well, that's kind of dumb. To hold the cylinder while trying to remove the plug. Something about voiding the warranty. Don't tighten past 90 inch-pounds on the plug. And this is the little ring that says that the fuel mixture is 24:1 and to use SA30 oil. Now I assume that that's probably the mineral-based oil. The little switch taggy still intact. Yeah, they use water slide decals on these and they're easily damaged. From what I understand, there are two sizes of these. There's 1 horse and 3/4 horse. This is a kill switch. And the first thing I'm going to do, this would apply to any engine. You know, if you get a brand new engine, don't know anything about it. I'm going to carefully take the plug out. Oh, and that baby is in there. Oh. And a brand new unmolested Ohlsson Rice 1 horsepower engine uses a Champion CJ14. And the first thing I'm going to do is put a little tiny bit of oil into the cylinder and a little bit down the carb. These engines are 2-stroke and they're basically giant model engines, like a model airplane engine, except for the ignition. And I don't think there's anything to stop you from converting these to glow and running them in such a way. Well, this is in pretty good kit. It's not rusty anywhere. There's no corrosion anywhere that I've seen right off the bat. The fuel line is hard as a rock. And there's a little just kind of surface corrosion from only sitting. Now, from what I understand, the spark plug gap is 30 thousandths on these. The ignition points are 20 thousandths. And the magneto spacing, that's the shoe away from the magneto magnets or the flywheel, is 10 thousandths. It says so right on the front. A lot of time you see these, they don't have this giant muffler, they have a little muffler. Well, trick is, this muffler is made up of a stack of steel rings. The end and the other end are the only different ones. The rest of them are the same. They're just kind of little holes through them all. And you can actually take these 2 jam nuts loose. And that comes out. And there's a steel rod that goes through there and it hooks around this little pin in the exhaust tube. It just grabs it. And those rods are different lengths for the different mufflers. From what I understand, this came off of, or would have been installed on a Paul Bunyan chainsaw. But there's a little, there's some corrosion on the laminates for the mag, or the ignition plating there. If you're going to take some apart, I strongly suggest you get well-fitting tools. Now, one of the first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this end off. I'm not going to turn this over And these engines have, a lot of times these little shrouds are missing. There's a little air shroud. There's, well, you'll see it. So I'm going to take this one off first. This is a really well-fitting screwdriver. Just gently break her loose. This may take a while, so if you want to hang in there. Also, what I from what I understand, that this cylinder head is screwed on to the case. You may, I don't know for sure, you may be able to reposition this exhaust. I kind of get the feeling that you can, but I don't know for 100% sure. I do know that that screws off of there. The on the other side, this baffle or airflow housing is held on by two of these little screws, and one actually holds the condenser. And if there's going to be a screw up, it'll be on camera. And I'll get that one to fit really well. That fuel tubing is hard as a stone. It's not even funny. The serial number, I believe, is right here. Stamped right here, and I'm just going to go ahead and kind of scooch this out of the way. Oh, it just slid right out. Okay, and the thingy, the condenser, actually its wiring goes through the engine over to here. This point over here is where the kill switch, the mags, primary coil, and the condenser all meet under this nut. Behind this, on this stud, are the points. So this is a really great place to take apart and check all those things. You can check the condenser, you can check the points, and you can check the resistance for the primary for the mag. Okay. This cover is held on by these 5 little screws. Now, if this engine you're tinkering with has been setting for a long time, there may be some corrosion down in these screws, and you may be in for a rude surprise. Another thing too is, we'll do that right away. If your engine's in good shape, you don't need to make it any worse. These screws actually fit pretty tight up against there, so you may want to slide a little piece of paper in there to keep from dinging up the paint. A piece of tape on your screwdriver would work too. These just come out. They're all the same, and they're Phillips, and they fit pretty decent. Like I said, be kind of careful around the decals. They're the kind of the water slide like the old model decals, and they're a little fragile. I'll just keep wrapping that paper towel around there. It won't hurt a thing. These are reasonably tight. There's a little spring washer under each one of them. Which, if you've ever done it, actually researched lock washers, they really don't do anything. Well, maybe the Star ones do. And we'll just keep doing that till it comes out. Set that baby off to the side. Got a little bowl here to keep the parts from going askew. That one's a little stiff. That one might have had some corrosion on it. One thing you could do is tip this up on its face and put a little penetrating oil in each one of those wells and let it sit. Wouldn't hurt anything. Keep you from busting a screw loose. And the only thing you can do to make this maybe a little easier is to take that muffler off. Like I said, it's just held on by 2 jam nuts, and oh, and that one's really on there. There we go. Probably didn't see that very well there. What I did was I tightened that and then loosened it, and it came right loose. And like I said, they're just, that's weird. what do we got here? Oh. Duh. Never mind. I just suppose if there was going to be a screw up on the camera, it would be here. I just took one of the mag plate screws apart instead of the case screw. I just stuck my screwdriver down there and it went into it. There we go. Okay. Let me put the other screw back. Okay, should be ready to just kind of rattle this top loose. Yeah, it just comes right off. Okay, now you can go two directions. Before you go any direction, be real careful of this little vane. This is a little plastic governor vane. It goes through and runs the throttle. And this one's a little stiff, nothing major, but that plastic might be a little fragile. There's the claws, and this one's still a little stuck. Okay, we'll just let it sit. We'll work on the starter here. There's not a lot to this recoil starter, the housing. Since this is a brand new one, it's stuck tighter than a drum. Now it's starting to loosen up there. From what I hear, this is actually a tiny little oil hole. But there's some grease in there. In this one, it's almost like white lithium grease, and it's more like white gunk. And I've taken and put just a tiny bit. You can see in between the outer rim there and then that hub. I put just a tiny drop of light lubricant in there. I don't know if you can see this or not. We'll take a look at it. Yeah, it's not too bad a shape. Right in that perimeter there, and just slowly start working it. And all that crap in the middle is some kind of white lithium grease. These things, these things have a huge recoil on them. I mean, it's literally probably 5 foot long. I kind of suggest you don't yank these all the way out. It's probably a little hard on the spring. And so there you go. There's the starter apart. Just looking something over here. Trying to see how that's staked down in there. It looks like that cord is hooked under a little wire. On this side there's a little wire that grabs that. And don't let these kind of return uncontrolled. It'll slam the knob and stuff. But if you loosen that up, it'll get going. Set that baby off to the side. Okay. So here's the kind of the guts, and I've been letting the oil move around in there. This will probably, again, that distance between the mag and this flywheel is 10 thousandths. Oh, there we go. I just turned it and it just rolled over real careful. Here we go. And it has a tiny bit of surface corrosion that it looks like I could wipe off. Looks like there's a few fingerprints from the employees. Man, there's not hardly any. This is in really great shape. Okay. If you want to get a little further, you can take the flywheel off. Now, there's a couple ways of doing this, and I don't know which way I care for. One way guys do it is they loosen this nut on the outside, which is really in there. Oh. Well, let's see. Well, I'll have to go downstairs, and what I'm going to do is carefully. There's a couple ways you could do this. There are a couple big slots on the side. You could stick a block of wood in there to kind of lock this into position. Another way you could do this is you could you could get some heavy string and kind of stuff it down into the cylinder, and then screw the spark plug back on. It'll lock it. It won't hurt it. But you have to just be careful, and you pick what mode is right for you. There's actually a hole here too. You might be able to put a pin in there and lock that. Anyway, you need to get that loose if you're going to go any further. And there's a washer under there, just a flat washer. This is rolling over pretty good. I'm going to shoot just a touch more oil in it in the carb. Still got the brand new Ohlsson Rice smell, whatever the heck that is. And you can see where the fan blows and blows the governor fan back. It's pretty cute. Well, I'm going to shut you off and go get a block of wood and work on this to get that loose.